Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode, and in this episode I'm going to be talking about different input sources in redstone. Now, up until this point, we've talked about a couple of input sources. So we've talked about the pressure plates and buttons in the last episode. We talked about the levers, the redstone block, and the redstone torch as well. But there are much more input sources here that I feel are kind of miscellaneous, and I kind of don't need an individual episode for all of them, like all of these here, except for one probably. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with them. Target block. This essentially stands up for its name, so it gets activated when you shoot a bow and arrow onto it. As you can see, doesn't really matter where I hit, doesn't have to be the bullseye, just anywhere, and it will activate the redstone. Observers. Now, I've talked about a block of this one time, and this is a block that basically detects for them. So if I place a block, if I break a block, as you can see, if I change the state of a block, as you can see, it just goes ahead and detects for literally any change in front of that block over here. Sculk sensor. Now, sculk sensor probably needs its own dedicated video because of how complex it is, but all you need to know is that any update around it, it detects it. So any sound. So your movement, let's say you land on the floor, it detects that. You throw a snowball nearby, it detects that. You place a block, you break a block, it also detects that, and it powers the redstone nearby, and it goes ahead and activates it. Now, the only way to stop it from doing so is by sneaking. As you can see, you get a sneak achievement here, and as you can see, it doesn't activate the sculk sensor, like so, unless you're on top of it, of course, then that activates it. Now, the power levels that sculk sensors emit are actually varied depending on what sound it makes, and so we're going to talk about that in a separate video, but with that said, let's go ahead and continue. Daylight sensor. Now, there's actually two modes for this thing. So there's a nighttime and a daytime mode. Now, if it's set to daytime, which is by default, it detects if it's daytime and it powers the redstone. If I switch it to nighttime, as you can see, it depowers the redstone. The signal gets stronger as the day approaches, and in the middle of the day, the signal is the strongest. Now, if I go ahead and set it to night mode, as you can see, it detects for nighttime. So if it's nighttime, it powers the redstone. And if I set it to daytime, as you can see, it goes ahead and turns off. Trap chest. Now, this thing is a little bit sneaky if you want to trap your friends, if there isn't this red outline here. But what it does is essentially output a 1 signal strength redstone behind it, and it powers whatever is behind it. So something like this, not gonna work, as it's only gonna power redstone right here. You can of course go ahead and place it right into it like so, and it will still work. If you place it on top here, it will also work. The only thing is that it has to be within 1 block of the chest, because it outputs only a 1 signal strength of redstone. Tripwire hook. Now, this thing is pretty simple. It's basically a tripwire hook along with string, as you can see on blocks like so. It can be as long as possible, so you can push that back. As you can see, just place 2 tripwires like so with string in the middle. And what you basically do is, if you step into it, it powers the block that it is, the tripwire is physically touching. As you can see, it powers the redstone. It emits a power level of 15, and it powers the block even if it's physically touching it, or if there's a redstone wire coming out of it, it goes ahead and powers it. Now, if there's a redstone wire coming out of here also, the tripwire itself, it also goes ahead and powers it. But out of the string itself, no. So it powers it 2 blocks like so, right? So anything touching the tripwire itself or the block touching the tripwire, that is gonna all get powered. That was a bit of a hard speedrun there. But if you enjoyed it and you learned something, make sure to comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next episode.